Jake. Jake is...
Jake is hilarious, and I hope that his DNA of making this a fun place to be endures forever. That aspect of him uniquely is the secret sauce of what Coney Island Prep is.
You see genuine joy on his face, like genuine joy when he's interacting with families and students, alumni, kindergartners. Like it is the kind of thing that is inspiring to see just in the moment of like glancing it, because you can't make up that kind of joy.
Jake is honestly one of my favorite people on the entire planet.
He just has such a skill at making others feel heard at what they need.
My favorite Jake memory was any Friday afternoon. We would watch the weekend just wash over him at an inappropriately early time of the day every Friday. And he would be like going around putting his finger in people's ear and like dancing and yelling, and the rest of us telling him to be quiet because we're trying to work and there are children here.
My first year at Coney Island Prep, Jake, we only had one school, and it was the middle school. And Jake would come to the window and scream out, "Cuckoo!" for us to open the door. Every single time, like there was a doorbell, there was a phone, there was another entrance. Just, he's a weirdo. For me, like he set the tone of like what we wanted to be. Like Jake is just like that. Jake is weird, he's funny, he's charismatic, he brings so much humor. But Jake also can like get what he needs to get done at a high level.
Jake is fun, I could be fun too.
Because of Jake, saying big time as an affirmative response is in my lexicon. I could just say yes when people ask me things, but I tell them big time instead.
A person who has just like, I think this expansive capacity and ability to connect with people and to make them feel like they are known by him.
I walked up to the school and there was a man shaking every single student's hand. I was confused, but I shook his hand and came in. And to my surprise, he was the founder and he greeted every child by name. He was very easygoing. I would not in a million years have guessed that he was the founder and he created this whole thing. Even when he interviewed me, he was like, professional but lax and made me feel comfortable. So immediately from my first handshake with him, I felt comfortable.
Jake is incredibly funny, hardworking, dedicated, and definitely wants the best for students, families, and staff. He is super easygoing, super easy to talk to, and he definitely makes me feel listened to when I speak to him.
I've known Jacob Mnookin since I was a senior in college. Was the first time we met. Jake was the first person that I spoke to about Teach for America as a senior in college. Years later, he found me, and Jake saw something in me as a 24-year-old. He visited my classroom, came to watch me teach, and he liked what he saw enough to say, yeah, there's an opportunity for you here to come and shape the culture of Coney Island Prep.
I think something about Jacob Mnookin, because of his leadership, is that he gives people a chance.
I distinctly remember learning from Jake as a grade team leader the importance of being really thoughtful about how and when to communicate with people on an individual level. Different people need different things, and the best way to communicate isn't always in a whole group setting. He told me sometimes you gotta work the ground game. I'm not entirely sure how that analogy fits to the practice of talking to people one-on-one, but I tell people that all the time.
Jake is very thoughtful, and he really thinks about the big picture a lot.
He really walks the walk and talks the talk, and whatever he wants his schools to do, he is 100% willing to do it himself.
You look over and Jake is like sitting with his group of first graders, like hanging out on the floor, and it was just the cutest thing ever, because the kids were just like so enamored by him. And then I remember being at the pumpkin patch and seeing Jake like on the playground with the kids, running around, having so much fun.
It was hearing Jake talk about a mistake that we had made. And it wasn't sort of an intentional mistake, but it was, I think we could have done this better. In hindsight, I wish we would have done this better. And as the leader and the executive director of the school, he was taking personal ownership for us not being as strong as we were in that moment. And I think his humility and his ownership really sets the tone for what it means for us to be vulnerable, but also be incredibly serious about this work.
Humility is one of our 6 pillars. And because he's so humble, I feel like that also spreads across our school with we have really humble leaders that show lots of levity. We have teachers who really aspire to do well, and I think it's coming all the way from the top and that trickles down.
When I think of describing Jake, it's really easy to go to the fun stuff, but truly Jake's one of the smartest people I've ever known. Jake has really positively influenced me in how I can be critical and thoughtful.
Jake is an incredible leader. He is a goofball. He is, we call him Big Chill right now. He is chill. Maybe in moments oh, Jake, you're over there chilling. Are you even worried about this thing the rest of us are thinking deeply about and worrying about? But his chillness over the last 5 years in my work with him has meant that he's calm. He's calm under pressure. He's disciplined and thoughtful. He keeps people focused on results.
One thing that is true about this organization because of Jacob's leadership is that it's always about the people, and it's because I think he has always seen the people who he's serving here as the most important element. How are we serving this kid, or how are we serving this family? Those are always the questions that I think he would bring back to the forefront.
Because of Jake at Coney Island Prep, it's true that you have to include everybody.
It is a family, and it felt like I belonged.
Jake leads with a moral compass that I think is really hard to come by these days. Jake does the right thing first and then thinks about how to make it happen, whereas I think in a lot of cases, regardless of the organization, it's sometimes easier to do the easy thing than to do the right thing. And I think the way that Jake thinks and works, he thinks about the right thing first, and then he thinks about the fair thing first.
Because of Jake, Coney Island Prep is a place where no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you can come here and be your authentic self. It is a place where you grow as a human, you grow as a professional, and people accept you for who you are and embrace who you are, not just accept, but embrace who you are, as long as you are all in and all about the kids. Thank you, Jake Mnookin, for this incredible school and setting a foundation for Coney Island Prep to be successful for decades to come.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, Jake. For real, from my heart.
We always make fun of the way that he sits on his computer and he's typing like this.
As far down as you can get, and typed like this from behind the thing, and occasionally popped his head up and was yeah, okay, what about that? Usually if he's on the computer, he's has it high and is going this on the computer.